Okay, good morning. Good Ben Shah, Reb Levi, Reb Yisrael, Reb Moshe, Reb Men. Okay, this is it. It's official now. Last day of the year. We're learning today, Monday, the 29th day of Elul, on page 56 in Yechayenu, Epistle 19. And in this in-depth Kabbalistic treatise.
What's a treatise?
I don't know. Look it up.
What's a treatise?
Tanya explains the difference between prophetic vision of the divine versus mystical perception. For although the latter seems to reach higher levels, it is more lenient than the former. Okay, in today's lesson,
a written work dealing formally and systematically with the subject.
Beautiful. Okay.
Kind of like an epistle.
Exactly. In today's, they said a letter?
It's a written piece of work.
A written piece of work, like a document.
Yeah.
So like it could have said a letter, but it's an epistle is more of a.
I don't know, they like using fancy words.
Right. Okay. So in order to enable the Ein Sof, the light, by definition, Epistle 19, by definition, infinite, to create worlds which are finite, an intermediary is needed to bridge the chasm between infinity and finitude. This is the Torah, which is alluded to in the opening pasuk. He enwrapped himself with light as with a garment. Okay, now any intermediary must itself take part of each level of its bridges, and the Torah thus comprises both of light and garment, nigla and pneumius.
Didn't say shofar. Do shofar today. No
shofar today. Very good, very good. Why didn't we blow the shofar today? No, the minig is not to blow the shofar today.
Interesting.
Erev Rosh Hashanah. So as to confuse the Satan, so he thinks he missed Rosh Hashanah. Didn't he figure it out after all these years?
Short memory.
What's this noise? Okay.
That's all.
Let's jump into it. He wraps himself with light. And with light and with a garment. So what does this mean? He wraps himself with light as with a garment. This verse speaks of light hidden within a garment. The Alter Rebbe will explain here how the light of the Torah that transcends revelation is vested in a concealed garment. Yasagas Moshe Rabbeinu alav shalom loy ha'isa b'chinas pnimius dechachmei la hanikra abba datzilus. L'kutei Torah of Rabbi Yitzchak Luria, Adarizal of blessed memory, Parshas Kisisa and Parshas Vayikra. It says that Moshe Rabbeinu did not apprehend the pnimius, meaning the innermost and profound level of the supernal chachma, which is called Abba of Atzilus. Now, obviously, if you hear the statement that Moshe Rabbeinu was not able to perceive it,
how are we going to do it?
No chance, right?
Zero.
Which basically is trying to say that it was the highest.
Well, it's also Moshe Rabbeinu was perfect.
Okay, but we don't even say that. But Moshe Rabbeinu spent 40 years up on the mountain communicating with God. So if he could do that, and he can't reach that level of understanding, then it's going to seem out of our reach. So the degree of divinity called supernal chachma is not limited to the sphere of chachma in the world of Atzilus. It also possesses a number of levels that transcend it, such as Chachma of Keser. So if Moshe Rabbeinu figured out the sphere of Chachma, the world of Atzilus, this is even higher than that. It's Chachma of Keser, the Chachma of Adam Kadmon, and so on. So the Alter Rebbe now go on to explain that not only were these levels loftier, these loftier levels of supernal Chachma beyond Moshe's apprehension, but so too, even the pnimius of the Chachma of Atzilus, meaning Abba of Atzilus.
What's pnimius?
The innermost.
Okay.
The deeper dimension.
There it is, inward and profound level.
Exactly. I don't know what that is. I'm not even going to try.
Fortiori?
Yeah.
Probably a letter.
Sounds Italian.
Or
the Sphira of Keser. Let's just say the Sphira, the letter of the crown, which is higher than it, is called
it's a type of argument using the principle of from a stranger reason to infer.
Don't tell me you know what that word means. Fitiori. Oh, okay, yeah.
Oh, it says in Hebrew, Kolshkein.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's the.
Nevertheless, how much more so?
How much more so? Right.
Right.
Okay.
For the very name Arech Anpin, literally the long countenance, implies a level of divinity of infinite extent, and hence is beyond the reach of any soul clothed in a body. Moshe apprehended as far as the Acharayim, the exterior levels of Chachma, which are vested in Bina. That's the extent. That's as far as he could reach. Unlike the internal aspects of Chachma, the exterior aspects of Chachma is capable of descending into a lower level of divinity, such as the sphere of Bina. So Chachma is higher than that. It's like unreachable. Which in turn is vested in the seventh. So as it comes down, it's the Chachma. It's the exterior aspect of Chachma, which is what? The Acharayim of Chachma, which is Bina, and then it goes, as it goes further down, it becomes more accessible. So the name implies a level of divinity which is contracted to within finite dimensions. By the way, I was thinking about it. Last few days we were talking about reaching a certain level of Ava and Yira and Tzedakah and Avodah and all these different things, right? And now we jump into Erev Rosh Hashanah, this like spiritual realm that seems completely out of reach. Why even bother? That's what Rosh Hashanah is all about.
Trying.
The whole month of Elul, we're working on ourselves. But when we reach the level of Rosh Hashanah, it's connecting with God. It's like the infinite. How do you connect with God? How do you crown God as king? That's reaching beyond the capability of humankind. We're connecting our physical abilities to the spiritual infinity of Hashem. So now it makes sense why we're learning this now. So this name implies a level. Does that make sense, Yuda? So this implies a level of divinity which is contracted to within finite dimensions. In the spirit, the seven emotive attributes are termed midas, whose singular form, midah, literally translates as measure, for it refers to the infinite the infinite Ein Sof, the light of Hashem, which is at the stage of having garbed itself in finitude in order to thereby become the source for created worlds. Soid HaTorah, the principle, the mystic principle of the Torah. So the manner in which the supernal Chachma descended through Bina and finds diverse expression within the seven emotive attributes underlies the divergence of halachic rulings within the Torah. For the laws of the Torah determine what is kosher, valid, versus pasul, invalid, innocent versus guilty, pure versus impure, and so on. Derived from these emotive attributes. The rulings of what is kosher, innocent, and pure derive from chesed, the attribute of kindness. And the rulings, what is pasul, guilty, and impure, derive from gevura, the attribute of severity, and so forth. Moreover, supernal Chachma extends to the end of the four lowest spheres, Netzach, Chayt, Yesod, and Malchus. These latter four emotive attributes are merely offshoots of the first three basic emotive attributes, which is Chesed, Gevura, and Tiferes, which they activate and cause to descend. So there, Moishes prophecy apprehended the pnimius, the inner aspect, the inner dimension of Netzach, Chayt, Yesod, and Malchus, whose function is to bring about the descent of the spiritual spheres within the worlds that are below Atzilus. Avalomayla, mi Netzach, Chayt, Yesod, Malchus, loy haisa loy shum hasaga pnimius ki'im bechinas achirayim the chachma ham lubashim bebina ham lubeshes mispashetes toich pnimius the Netzach, Chayt, Yesod, Malchus. However, this apprehension did not extend to the pnimius of the levels of divinity transcending Netzach, Chayt, Yesod, and Malchus, but only to the Acharayim, the external aspect of Chachma, which is vested in Bina, which in turn is vested and extended within the pnimius of Netzach, Chayt, Yesod, and Malchus. Besoid, Noivla is Chachma, Shalamayla Torah. This is the mystical principle underlying the teachings of the Medrash, that the Noivla, the withered vestige of supernal Chachma, is Torah. Meaning the Torah is not the unsullied essence of supernal Chachma. Only a small dilution of this can find an expression in the revealed aspects of the Torah. Paler, like a pail? Yeah. Obviously, so there's the deeper, the pnimius Torah, which is much more mystical, esoteric, and to a certain extent unreachable because it's part of Hashem. And then there's the revealed part of Torah that we learn, that we know we could access, and certain levels which we can't, but the greatest Talmidei Chachamim could. Shehi bechinas zeir anpin, on the level of zeir anpin, meaning diminished and finite, as explained above. That's the Torah that's tangible that we can connect to. K'dechsiv ra'isa es achoirai ufanai le yeira'u. The pasuk says, "You shall see my back." This is what Moshe was able to see and experience, but not the pnimius. The pnimius shall not be seen. Even Moshe cannot behold could behold no more than the acharayim of Sforno Chachma and not its pnimius or essence. Now, we're not talking about the back of Hashem's head. Hashem doesn't have a head. Hashem doesn't have a face. But he was able to tap into the exterior level of, this infinite Hashem, but not the inner level. Ayin Sham b'shar hanavua perek aleph. Look over there. L'chayri yesh lahafli harei nemar v'lo yikam navi oid b'Yisrael k'Moshe. So now this seems surprising. It says there's no other prophet in Israel like Moshe. Ve'eich hisig Arizal yoisim imenu. How could it possibly be that Arizal understood or was able to tap in better than Moshe Rabbeinu? Impossible. And he was able to expound on themes that dealt with the pnimius of afilu b'sfiros u'madreges rabbi shelamayla be'achachma v'cheser d'atzilus. Even many of the spheres and levels that transcend chachma and keser of atzilus, which Moshe Rabbeinu was only able to grasp the lower levels of that. Yet it is all right that Moshe's prophecy did not enable him to grasp the pnimius of chachma of atzilus. He's able to reach higher. And as we mentioned before, that Erev Rosh Hashanah, we're reading these, we're delving into this deep mystical concepts of the pnimius of, not just of the Torah, but of God. And so we're going to delve into that even more tomorrow morning. We're going to try to meet a little bit early, but 8:30, to learn before we begin the davening. We're going to stand before the Eibishter. We're going to hear Tekiyah Shofar. We're going to crown God as our King. We'll try to discover why and how Arizal was able to tap into even more, seemingly. So takeaways: Moshe, the father of all prophets, did not really have vague visions of godliness, chas v'shalom. Rather, he attained an intimate vision like an understanding of Hashem, albeit it was not an appreciation of the essence, the pnimius of Hashem, it was the exterior, but Moshe communicated this to the Jewish people in a visible truth through sharing with people the Torah.
What's it, 8:30 tomorrow?
Yeah. Okay, Chavre, Yasher Koyach, Aksiva v'chsima Tova, L'shana Tova, Mesuka. Should all have a wonderful, happy, healthy year, and especially the hostages should be released before Rosh Hashanah for sure, any moment, and we should all find ourselves heading to Eretz Yisrael, to Yerushalayim HaKodesh, with the coming of Mashiach and the rebuilding of the Beis HaMikdash.